Flip the bottle just once. The front says made with olive oil. The label is painted in Tuscan yellow, and there is probably a little olive branch tucked next to the brand name. Now read the ingredient panel on the back. The second ingredient is soybean oil. The third is sugar. Olive oil shows up somewhere near the bottom of the list, right above the preservative nobody can pronounce. This is the dressing aisle, and it is one of the most successful logistical magic tricks in the entire American supermarket. Americans spend more than $3 billion a year on bottled salad dressing. We buy it because we have been told for 40 years that it is what makes a bowl of vegetables healthy. But most of what we are pouring on those vegetables is refined seed oil, sugar, and a chemistry set of gums and preservatives wearing a Mediterranean costume. I spent 2 weeks auditing every dressing on the shelf to find the truth, and the results were not what I expected. 5 of the biggest names in the category are running the exact same playbook. But 4 brands, including one you can grab at almost any normal grocery store for about $4, are doing it right. Stick around because the winner is going to surprise you. Here is the math that explains the entire category. To make a real vinaigrette, you need cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. At wholesale, that runs roughly 40 cents per fluid ounce, sometimes more depending on the harvest, the country of origin, and whether the olives were pressed within 24 hours of picking. Refined soybean oil, the industrial commodity oil pressed from genetically modified beans and bleached with hexane solvent, costs about 4 cents per ounce. That is a tenfold price gap on the single largest ingredient in the bottle. Multiply that gap across the tens of millions of bottles a major brand ships every year, and you understand exactly why olive oil dressing is almost never actually made with olive oil. They add just enough to legally print the words on the front. The FDA has no minimum threshold. If the bottle contains any measurable amount of olive oil, the front label can shout about it as loudly as it wants, in whatever font size the marketing department prefers. Then there is the emulsifier problem. A real vinaigrette separates. Oil and vinegar do not want to be friends. Traditionally, you fix that with egg yolk, mustard, or a vigorous shake before pouring. But shoppers want a bottle that pours creamy and stays mixed for 18 months on a warehouse shelf in Phoenix. So the industry reaches for xanthan gum, modified food starch, and a substance called propylene glycol alginate, which is derived from the same chemical family as antifreeze. It is FDA approved. It is also not food in any sense your grandmother would have recognized. Add caramel color for that warm amber glow, EDTA to stop the cheap oils from going rancid on the shelf, and natural flavor to cover the metallic aftertaste of oxidized soybean oil, and you have a product that costs pennies to manufacture and sells for $4 to $6 a bottle. The markup is not paying for ingredients. It is paying for the commercial that ran during the football game last Sunday. The skip list. Let us start with the 5 worst offenders. Number 1, Crab Zesty Italian. Flip the bottle. The first ingredient is water. The second is soybean oil. Then comes high fructose corn syrup, vinegar, sugar, salt, garlic, and the preservatives EDTA and sorbic acid. There is caramel color for the brown tint and natural flavor doing the heavy lifting on taste. Olive oil is nowhere on the panel. This is sweetened seed oil with garlic powder, sold to you in a bottle that uses the word zesty to distract from the fact that it is mostly water and soybean. The word Italian appears nowhere in the actual supply chain. Number 2, Wishbone Italian. The marketing leans hard on the word Italian, but the ingredient list reads American. Industrial. Soybean oil, sugar, salt, dehydrated garlic, xanthan gum, and a long parade of preservatives. The brand has faced years of consumer pushback over implying olive oil heritage on bottles where olive oil, when it appears at all, is a rounding error. Read the fine print. The Italian flag is on the cap. The actual product was engineered in a flavor lab somewhere in suburban New Jersey. Number 3, Ken's Steakhouse Light Northern Italian with olive oil. This one is the textbook loophole, and honestly the most insulting bottle on the shelf. The front says, with olive oil. The back says water, soybean oil, vinegar, sugar, and olive oil appears in the bottom third of the ingredient list. Light here does not mean cleaner. It means they diluted the oil with even more water and thickened it back up with extra xanthan gum to fake the body. You are paying a premium for water and gum and then being told it is the healthier choice. It is a logistical magic trick wearing a doctor's coat. Number 4, Hidden Valley. Original Ranch is America's favorite dressing, and Hidden Valley is its undisputed king. The bottle suggests buttermilk, fresh herbs, and a little farmhouse somewhere in the foothills of California. The ingredient panel delivers soybean oil, buttermilk, sugar, salt, monosodium glutamate, modified food starch, artificial flavor, disodium inosonate, and disodium guanylate. That is 3 separate flavor enhancers in a single bottle, all working together to convince your tongue that something fresh is happening. There is more chemistry in here than dairy. The farmhouse on the label has never existed. Number 5, Olive Garden Signature Italian. The retail bottle trades entirely on the restaurant's brand equity, on the warm memory of breadsticks and a server tossing salad tableside. But the panel tells a completely different story. Soybean oil leads, then water, vinegar, sugar, salt, garlic, modified food starch, and propylene glycol alginate. That last one is the petroleum-derived emulsifier we talked about earlier. The Olive Garden experience is marketing. The bottle on the grocery shelf is manufactured in a plant that has never seen an olive, by a company that licensed the name. You do not need a lab to audit your own kitchen. You need a refrigerator in about 30 seconds. Here is the fridge test. Take any dressing in your house that claims to contain olive oil. Put it in the back of the fridge overnight at roughly 38 degrees Fahrenheit. In the morning, pull it out and look at it. Real extra virgin olive oil clouds, and partially solidifies in the cold. It goes thick, cloudy, and waxy at the bottom of the bottle. That is a chemical signature you cannot fake, because it comes from the natural fatty acid profile of actual olives. If your olive oil dressing is still perfectly clear, perfectly pourable, perfectly liquid, the olive oil claim is fiction. You are looking at refined soybean oil, which stays liquid, down to nearly freezing. Backup tests. Read the first 3 ingredients, just 3. If water, soybean oil, sugar, or high fructose corn syrup appear before olive oil, the front of the bottle is selling you a story. The ingredient list tells the truth, and the law requires it to be ordered by weight. The marketing department writes the front of the bottle. The lawyers write the back. Always trust the back. The real list, now the consumer win. These are the 4 brands that earn their shelf space. Number 1, Primal Kitchen Greek Vinaigrette Avocado Oil Base. No soybean, no canola, no sugar, no gums, no caramel color. The ingredient list reads like something you could assemble in your own kitchen on a Tuesday night. Avocado oil, water, vinegar, lemon juice, sea salt, herbs. Founded in 2014 by Mark Sisson, a former endurance athlete who built the entire brand specifically because he could not find a single bottled dressing in America without seed oils. It is more expensive, usually $7 to $9 a bottle, but every cent of that price goes into the oil, not the marketing budget. There is no commercial, there is just the bottle. Number 2, Tesmos Lemon Garlic Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil, lemon juice, garlic, salt, organic spices. That is the entire ingredient list. 5 things. Started in a Maryland family kitchen in 2009, when the founder's mother flatly refused to buy bottled dressing because she could not pronounce half the ingredients on the labels at her local grocery store. Her sons bottled her recipe and started selling it at farmers markets out of the back of a car. The bottle on the shelf today still reads like a recipe, not a formula. Number 3, Bragg Organic Vinaigrette. Bragg has been around since 1912, which makes the company older than most of the chemistry now sitting in the skip list. The vinaigrette is built on an organic extra virgin olive oil, Bragg's own apple cider vinegar, raw honey, water, garlic, and herbs. No gums, no natural flavor, no mysterious acronyms. A genuine heritage brand that simply never reformulated downward when the rest of the industry started cutting corners in the 80s and 90s. They held the line for over 100 years, and it shows on the panel. Number 4, Briannas Real French Vinaigrette, the value play. You can find this bottle on the shelf at most ordinary supermarkets, often for around $4, which puts it in the exact same price range as Ken's and Wishbone. It is not perfect, and the oil is a canola and olive oil blend, not pure extra virgin. But there is no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial color, no MSG, no propylene glycol alginate, and the ingredient list is short enough to read in one single breath. If you want the biggest quality jump for the smallest price increase, this is the bottle. This is the one you can actually afford to buy every single week without renegotiating the grocery budget. The pattern across all four is exactly the same. Short ingredient lists, real oil, real vinegar, no emulsifier chemistry, no preservatives doing the work that fresh ingredients should be doing, no marketing fantasy on the front that the ingredient panel on the back has to quietly contradict in smaller print. Your salad is not a commodity for these corporations to optimize. The dressing aisle has spent 40 years convincing you that the bottle with the Italian flag, the olive branch, and the warm amber glow is the same as the one a real cook would shake together at home in a mason jar. It is not. It is soybean oil, sugar, and gum, sold at a markup that funds the marketing department and the shareholder dividend at the end of the quarter. But you have the audit now. You have the fridge test. You have the first 3 ingredients rule. You know the names of the 5 worst offenders. And you know the 4 brands, including one sitting at $4 on a normal grocery shelf, that are still doing this honestly. The dressing aisle lies. You have the right to know the truth. Subscribe to Tasted and Tested for more.